The sword shall thou live, till thou shalt have dominion, to be able to break his yoke from your shoulder. For now, you shall serve him. You shall serve him. You shall serve him. You shall serve him.
I cannot. I am Esau! You just cannot take my blessing! I'm getting close! I will get you! I will get you! I'm getting close! I'm coming for you! I'm coming for you. Young man, peace be with you. You look troubled. Where are you heading to? Old man, that is not your business. Hey, your heart is heavy. You look troubled. Perhaps I can help you. Talk to me, my son. I'm going to look for my brother, the one that stole my blessing. If I find him, I will end his life. I cannot be his slave. My son, why will you do such thing? My father said I will live by the sword till my dominion will come, when I will be able to break off his yoke of my neck. He took everything from me. He took my birthright. He took my blessing. The only thing I have, the only thing that I have to keep me alive is the sword. It's the sword. My son, you misunderstood the meaning of the sword. Do you think the sword your father is talking about is just the main weapon of steel and iron? For you to tell me the kind of sword to use. Do you know who my father was? I guess you do not. If only you knew who my father was, you will know that my father would carry authority. I know your father, my son. Do you know my father? Did you say you know my father? I know him very well. I know your father. Do you know my father? The God your father serves is not a man-made God like the sword you just hold, but is the God of spirit. That is why I say, those that will worship me in spirit and in truth. It seems that you have a knowledge about my father. I know him. All what your father told you came from the spirit realm, and it is capable of giving you back your dominion if only you can decode the meaning of the sword your father told you about. Why did you say that? My son, the weapon you need to break the yoke off your neck and to get the dominion you seek for should not be a carnal weapon, but it's the mighty weapon through God in pulling down every stronghold. Old man, I'm not fighting spiritual being. I'm fighting my brother. The one that stole my blessing from me.
So, that is why you carry the wrong sword. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against prosperity, against power, against the ruler of this dark world, against spiritual wickedness in the high places. And so, before you were born, there are powers that are fighting against your dominion. But unfortunately, you always fall victim because you are fighting your battle with a carnal weapon.
What is the right sword for me to carry?
The right sword to carry is the word of God. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 17 say, the sword of the Spirit is the word of God, my son.
Word of God, is that a sword?
The word of God is so powerful, my son. It can cut through every bitterness, every hatred, every sin. That is why Hebrews 4 verse 12 told us that the word of God is sharper than two-edged sword. It's sharper than the sword you just carry. It can pierce into every marrow of our system. You can see how powerful the word of God is, my son. That is the sword your father is talking about.
What cannot avenge the loss of my father's blessing? Only this sword can. Only this sword can.
My son, hatred will always slave you. It will bring you to the position that you live to serve your brother forever.
Do you know what it is like to be robbed of everything? My father gave him my blessing that made for me. It took everything from me. My birthright, my blessing, and I will end up serving him. I'm going to serve him.
My son, I understand your pain, but remember, God is a rightful judge. Why not you leave it for him to handle? Romans chapter 12 verse 19 says, vengeance belongs to him. Leave him to fight your battle for you. Do not take it on yourself, because he will consume you.
But how will I live without my blessing? How will I live without my blessing?
No, my son, you are wrong. You have the love of God within you.
But my father said, I must live by the sword.
Yes, your father is right. Every child of God must live by the sword. And the sword we are talking about, as I told you before, is the word of God. Therefore, what your father means is that every child of God must live by the word of God. Jesus himself showed us the kind of sword we will carry. In Matthew chapter 26 verse 52, when Peter drew out this kind of sword you owe to cut someone ear, Jesus told him to put it back, because whosoever that live by the sword you owe will always die by that sword. You see, this is not the kind of sword of vengeance your father is talking about. It's not this kind of sword that will give you life. No. But it's the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. This sword will only end up to destroy you, my son. I do not know how to let go of this my anger. You have been my companion for so long. Give it to Jesus, because He bear all our pains and sin in the cross of Calvary. I cannot forget what Jacob did to me. I just cannot forget what Jacob did to me. My son, you must forgive, because Jesus told us to forgive our brothers. He said, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. At first you want God to forgive you. You must find a place in your heart to forgive Him. I want to forgive, but it's so hard for me to do. Jesus understands. When He was on the cross, He said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. If Jesus on the cross of Calvary forgive you and me, who are you to hold grudge against your brother? Who are you to say you will not forgive him? My son, you have to let it go. Forgive him. Through my life. You ruin my life. My son, no, my son, no one can ruin your life unless you let bitterness have its way in your heart. But if you trust God, He can turn your pain to joy. That is why you have to free your heart for God to take charge. Lord, help me. I cannot do this alone. Lord, help me. I need your help. I surrender my anger and my sword to you. Take you. Yes, you have chosen the right sword. Thank you, old man. You make me to understand that living by the sword do not mean is to take vengeance into your hand, but is to be guided by the word of God. So, thank you. Thank you. I'm going back. You have seen. You have chosen the right sword. The right sword is not the one of destruction, but the one of salvation and truth. Friends, will you choose that sword?